Great. So good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to see you all here. I would like to welcome you all today to today's session, Virtual Reality in Learning and Development with Vanessa Mendoza. But first of all, I'd like to recognize our various generous sponsors. First is Learnix, our bronze sponsor. Learnix is a free Google Chrome extension that allows students to document their research journey. As students research, Learnix captures their searches, their sites visited, the amount of time spent on sites, as well as any notes they may take based on their visited websites. All this can then be exported into an organized notes page, an auto-generated bibliography, or a snapshot report summarizing their journey. You can learn more about them at learnix.com. Next, we have Advative Learning, another bronze sponsor. They are a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to making education personal and accessible for every learner. Through their collaborative partnerships, dedication to innovation, and commitment to personalized learning, they aim to make a positive impact in transforming education and empowering educators nationwide. You can learn more about them at advative.com. Next is NEDLA's friend, Rod's Pulse podcast. In his podcast, Dr. Rod Murray explores topics related to e-learning technologies. You can find his podcast at rodspulsepodcast.com. NEDLA is a nonprofit organization committed to promoting digital learning for all. If you are interested in becoming a sponsor or a patron, please feel free to email us at douglas.koch@nedla.org. And I'm going to share all these links. So next, Vanessa Mendoza is a doctoral student at New Jersey City University in the Educational Technology Leadership Program. Currently, she is working as a national account executive for an international transportation company, and she's also an adjunct professor in the business school at NJCU. She began her career in supply chain 12 years ago after obtaining a bachelor's degree in international business from Berkeley College in 2010. In 2017, she completed an MBA, Organizational Management and Leadership Specialization at NJCU. She's also a member of the NJCU Alumni Association Advisory Board and serves as a mentor. As she makes progress in the EDD program, she looks forward to obtaining opportunities in the education field and developing the necessary skills to transition into a full-time professor. And now, without further ado, I'd like to pass things off to Vanessa Mendoza.
Thank you so much, Doug. I'm very happy to be here and sharing some knowledge and some of my interests in learning and development, and obviously marrying it up with virtual reality. Before I move further, if you are a student in one of my classes and would like credit for attending this session, please take a look at the QR code and make sure you just drop your name once the screen pops up. The QR code will be available at the end of the session as well in case you don't have the time to do it right now. I have a full agenda tonight, and I really hope to cover as much as possible and provide you with some time for questions and answers. We will talk about virtual. Oh, this is going crazy. Nope. There we go. Let's just use the button. So our agenda today, we will talk about virtual reality, learning and development, the benefits of virtual reality, the use of VR in learning and development, as well as how it's being used currently in certain industries, challenge and considerations, and the future. I would like to start off with a little bit of the history of virtual reality, which dates back to the 19th century. The concept of virtual reality traces back to the 19th century with the invention of the stereoscope, devices that presented images in 3D to create a sense of depth. This early device has laid the foundation for later developments in immersed technology. In the 1950s, we see filmmaker Morton Hellick develop the Sensorama, which is a mechanical device that stimulated multiple senses, including sight, sound, smell, and even touch, to create an immersive experience. Even though Sensorama it's not recognized widely, it was a precursor to modern VR and technology. The 1960s, engineer Ivan Sutherland created the first head-mounted display, called it Headsight, in which was pretty bulky, and it was one of the reasons why it didn't take off. And then virtual reality markup language, or VRML, in the 1990s. This development, it was a programming language for creating 3D virtual worlds in the internet, and it marked an important milestone for VR technology to become popular, as it allowed users to navigate and interact with virtual environments through the web. However, the commercialization of VR only took place in the late 90s, early 2000s. Companies like BPL, research founded by Jerome Lanier, and Virtuality Group developed early VR systems for commercial gaming applications. However, it was too expensive, which is why it failed during that time, and it did not widespread as expected. Modern VR, as we know it from early 2010 and on, saw a great interest, developing more affordable and accessible hardware such as Oculus, HTC Vive, and PlayStation, which is where it became pretty popular with the PlayStation. These headsets offer high quality immersive experiences for gaming, entertainment, and education and training and other applications. But in a nutshell, virtual reality is a computer generated simulation of an environment or experience that can be interacted within a seemingly real or physical way, by a person using an electronic equipment such as the headset. Um, a lot of the times with the screen, sometimes even with the gloves, to so they add more sensors. In VR, the users typically immerse in three-dimensional environments that can simulate sensory experiences like sound, touch, and even smell. Some of the key components of VR, it's an immersive environment. So VR creates an immersive environment, surrounds the users, often through a head-mounted display, or VR headset, which blocks out physical worlds and replaces it into a virtual one. And then you have interactivity, VR environments that are interactive, allowing users to engage with a manipulative object, navigate through spaces, and interact in virtual characters and elements. And then you have sensory feedback. This one is quite interesting. This type of VR aims to stimulate multiple senses to create a sense of realism and immersion. This includes visual feedback through high resolution displays, partial audio, realistic soundscapes, and haptic feedback devices that tactile sensations. There is different types of virtual reality. We have immersed reality, which immerses the virtual environment using the headsets. You have augmented reality, in which it overlays digital information and virtual objects on the real world, enhancing users' perception on their surroundings. AR is often experienced through smartphones, smart glasses, or just headsets. And then you have a mixed reality. So mixed reality combines elements of both the virtual and augmented reality, allowing the virtual objects to interact with the real world, and vice versa. And then there's different hardware. The head mounted, which I had mentioned earlier, it's key component of VR hardware consisting of headsets, The users wear over their eyes and ears to experience virtual environments. Do you have controllers? VR controllers are handheld devices that allow users to interact with their visual objects and navigate through virtual environments. And then you have sensors and tracking systems. VR systems use sensors and tracking systems to monitor the user's movements, position in physical space. This basically enables the system to update the virtual environment in real time based on the user's actions and gestures. Understanding virtual reality involves recognizing how these components work together. I am not an expert on the technology behind it. Obviously, I'm just an individual who has looked a lot into virtual reality and obviously combining it with the interests of learning and development in adulthood. By leveraging VR technology, organizations can enhance learning and development initiatives, and we'll go into it in a minute. So I'll go over what learning and development is. So the concept of learning and development in adult settings, it refers to the educational development opportunities provided to adults as they navigate various aspects of adulthood, such as their personal finance, household management, career advancements, and interpersonal skills. And so just a brief history of this concept. Early adult education in the late 19th century and the early 20th century. Adult education focused primarily on basic literacy and adult and vocational training for those adults who had missed formal education as a child. These programs target immigrant populations and working class individuals seeking to improve those skills for better employment. Post World War II, during the 1940s and the 1960s, we saw a huge wave of veterans returning home and looking for support. So the GI Bill passed in 1944 provide educational benefits to millions of veterans. And then we continue on seeing the evolution of education in adulthood and professional development in the 1970s and 1980s. There was a growth in recognizing the importance of lifelong learning and ongoing skills development for adults in the workforce. College, universities, and vocational schools began offering continuing educational programs and professional development courses to help adults stay competitive in their careers. And then during the 1990s and early 2000s, we saw an increased emphasis on providing adults with education and resources related to personal finance, budgeting, debt management, and other essential life skills. Non-for-profit organizations, government agencies, and financial institutions launch educational initiatives and workshops to improve financial literacy amongst adults. And then the digital age and online learnings in the early 2000s till today obviously have paved the way for learning and development. Online platforms and learning management systems has made it easier for adults to access educational resources, courses, training, anywhere at any time. So, and then the holistic approach to adult learning presently, or at least in the most recent years, has a great emphasis on a holistic approach, adult education, which includes not only the traditional academic environment and vocational skills, but it also includes life skills, wellness, mental health, personal development, adult focused workshops, seminars, and resources that cover topics such as management, stress management, communication skills, relationship building, and self-care. So the history of learning and development in adulthood settings reflects the evolving needs of challenges faced by adults as they navigate complexities in the modern life. Learning and development refers to the systematic process of enhancing, knowledge, skills, abilities, and behaviors within any particular organization. Learning and development supports the personal and professional growth of employees to improve their performance, productivity, and effectiveness in the role. And obviously, it's in the best interest of many organizations to have programs or to have some sort of roadmap for learning and development, because the productivity and the performance of the employee ultimately is going to lead to the success and the profitability of the company. So some key components of learning and development include training and education, providing structure for learning experiences, such as workshops and seminars, as mentioned earlier, skill development, focusing on developing both skills related to the job and soft skills, career development, supporting employees with their career progression by offering opportunities for advancement and enhancing their skills. One article that I read not long ago said that 92% of employees who stay at their job is because the employer is offering them the opportunity for advancements. Performance improvement, identifying and addressing performance gaps through targeted learning interventions. So this one for me, it's huge. Many companies a lot of the times have a learning and development program, but they don't revisit or review it often to close gaps in the either the learning or the processes that they have in place. Coaching and mentoring. So this one for me is very important. I think that I have had very good mentors and coaches throughout my career. And I just can say that I've been very lucky. And then I actually practice it. So if I can be a coach or mentor for, anybody that's coming after me, I can definitely, support that. Providing guidance and support from experienced professionals to help employees develop. It's great. It's also very good practice where many companies will team up where they assign a buddy to the new employee, and this buddy is just probably somebody who has a little bit of more tenure and it's looking to help this person navigate challenges and achieve their personal objectives. Feedback and evaluation, basically offering constructive feedback and evaluating mechanisms to assess the effectiveness of learning initiatives. And then organizational development, basically aligning the development initiative with the strategic objectives of the organization to foster a culture of learning, innovation, and agility. The goals of learning and development. The primary goal of learning and development is to enhance knowledge, skills, and abilities and behaviors of individuals within the organization. Ultimately, obviously, this is going to lead to higher profits for any organization when you have skilled individuals that have the ability to do their job faster. So skill enhancements, which aims to equip employees with specific skills related to the job. And also soft skills, communication, leadership, problem solving, teamwork, performance improvement. So basically closing that gap, providing targeted learning interventions. L&D seeks to address performance gaps to help employees meet or exceed performance. And then you have career development. 94% of employees who leave their job is because their employer was not able to offer them, some sort of career development in which they progress or they start at one role and ultimately are able to switch to another role to either gain more skills or gain the opportunity to work with different teams. Adaptability and innovation. So learning and development promotes a culture of continuous learning and innovation within the organization, enabling employees to adapt to change, embrace new technology and processes, and contribute to creative solutions to business challenges. Talent management, L&D plays a crucial role in talent management by identifying and developing high potential employees, nurturing future leaders, building pipelines of talent to meet the organization's current and future needs. Employee engagement and satisfaction, investing in the employee development through L&D initiatives demonstrates commitment to the employee's growth and well-being, leading to higher levels of engagement, job satisfaction, and loyalty. To employers or organizations that are constantly focusing on L&D initiatives have employees who are highly satisfied, who are not looking elsewhere for the next move because their job fulfills their needs. And then one last one on goals of learning and development, it's the knowledge of sharing and collaboration. L&D encourage knowledge sharing and collaboration among employees, facilitating the transfer of expertise and best practices across teams and departments. So what is knowledge without sharing it, right? That's basically what that is. You know, it's learning and passing it on to other individuals that are coming after us or who have started the job after all. So the overall goal of learning and development is to create a skill motivated and adaptable workforce that drives individuals and organizations' success in a dynamic and competitive business environment. There is different ways or different modalities to for learning and development, and obviously one of those is what we will discuss today, which is virtual reality. But in a current setting, we will have, if there's no virtual reality, we will have instructor-led training, e-learning modules, which is pretty popular and has become very popular during the pandemic, where you're basically in front of a computer, they're reading or learning via videos, on-the-job training, workshops, seminars, and the virtual classroom. So virtual reality and learning. So how do these two, come into play? So virtual reality has become increasingly popular tool in the field of learning and development due to its ability to create an immerse and engaging educational experience. Some of the ways is experimental learning. So what that means is VR allows learners to immerse themselves in realistic simulation or real world scenarios. So for example, medical students can practice surgical procedures, and I'll go into that a little bit later of some actual case studies. But basically, surgical procedures in a virtual room or virtual operating room in the medical field. Employees undergo safety training in a simulated environment without taking so much risk. Enhance engagement. Traditional methods traditional methods such as lectures and online courses can sometimes lack engagement. VR basically provides a highly interactive and immersive learning environment for that captures learners' attention, and it keeps them engaged throughout the entire training session. Personalized learning. So basically, personalized learning, VR technology can adapt to individual learner needs and preferences, providing personalized learning. So for example, VR simulations can adjust to the difficulty level of the task based on the learner's performance. So if the learner basically didn't do well on the previous level, it's gonna adapt to make sure that they're not overwhelmed and that they are practicing and learning, not necessarily just going on to the next level. It's cost effective. So in some industries, training can be expensive and logistically challenging. VR offers a cost-effective solution by providing simulations that can be replicated over and over again. Um, if you happen to go for a training, let's say to Los Angeles, if you did not learn it right then and there, it's highly unlikely that the employer is going to send you once more to Los Angeles to take this training. And we see it how cost effective it is in the aviation companies where pilots can train in various flight scenarios without needing to actually fly. The fact that it is remote learning, VR technologies enables remote learning experiences, allowing the learners to access training materials and simulations from anywhere in the world. So two people can be taking the same scenario or practicing the same scenario at different time zones into different parts of the world on their own time. And then one very important one, it's soft skills. So VR can be used to develop soft skills such as communication, teamwork, and leadership. Through interaction, simulations, and role-playing scenarios, learners can participate and refine interpersonal skills in a realistic environment. So some employees can participate in virtual team building exercise and courses and to improve their communication skills. Okay, up next. Ooh, not sure why it keeps going the opposite way. Sorry. The benefits of virtual reality, enhance engagement. We have VR provides a highly immersed interactive learning experiences that captivates learners' attention and engagement by transporting learners to realistic virtual realistic environments. VR stimulates curiosity, exploration, and active participation in the learning. It improves retention. Um, it's more memorable, the experience of VR, than the actual live experience, simply because it can be replicated. So VR's experiences are multi-sensory in nature, including visual, audio, and tactile feedback. So it enhances the memory, coding, and retrieval, leading to deeper outcomes. Realistic simulations. VR enables the creation of realistic simulations of complex scenarios and environments that are difficult or costly to replicate. And so just going back to the example of Los Angeles, right? If you didn't live it at that moment and you didn't put all your soul and effort into it at that time, it's going to be very costly for you to have the opportunity to go there again. Safe training environments, it eliminates risk and hazard associated with traditional training methods. And this doesn't mean that employees are never going to be exposed to the actual risk and hazardous scenarios. But having the VR version of it, it's going to train them much better in a safe environment, in a controlled environment, where learners can practice, whether it's performing a surgical procedure, operating heavy machinery, or responding to emergency situations. VR learners will make mistakes and learn from them without actual consequences. Personalized learning experiences. VR allows for personalized learning experiences tailored to the individual needs, preferences, and learning styles for each learner. By adopting content, pacing, and difficult levels based on the learner performance and feedback, VR training programs can optimize learning outcomes and engagement for each learner. Accessibility. VR training programs can be accessed at any time, anywhere, making learning more accessible and convenient for the learners. Whether it is a classroom at home or on the go, learners can engage with VR content using VR headsets, mobile devices, desktop computers, and expanding their access to education and training opportunities. And then skill transfer. Basically, VR will facilitate skill transfer application by providing enhanced experimental learning experiences that closely resemble the real world context. Learners can apply skills gained in VR simulations directly on their job and their roles, leading them to improve to their performance and productivity. Next. Okay. So the use of VR in simulation trainings, it allows to learners to so simulation and trainings, it allows learners to engage in realistic simulations of complex scenarios, corporate training, and for soft skills. So VR is increasingly being used in the corporate setting for training, onboarding, and professional development. As a matter of fact, actually, onboarding, it's going to be my focus on my dissertation. So how it's learning and development and onboarding can be enhanced, or at least that's where I stand right now. So virtual realities can be replicated at the workplace scenario, customer interactions, sales pitches, and leadership exercises, allowing employees to practice skills, receive feedback, and improve performance in realistic virtual environments. Language learning, VR can enhance language learning by providing immersive environments where learners can practice speaking and listening in a foreign language. Virtual simulations can create everyday situations much more such as ordering food in a restaurant, asking directions, or engaging casual conversations with native speakers, allowing the learners to improve the language. Diversity and inclusion. So VR can be used to create empathy building experiences that raise awareness of diversity and inclusion issues in the work or in issues in the workplace. For example, learners can basically step on someone else's shoes from different backgrounds or different perspectives and experiences to have that first hand experience and face those challenges. Onboarding and induction, VR can enhance the onboarding process for new employees by providing them virtual tours of the actual facilities, introduction to team members, and interactive training modules on company policies, procedures, and even culture. Safety training, as I mentioned earlier, it allows for training to take place with less risk. One of the industries that I think that it's highly risky, it's mining. So virtual simulations can be replicated in hazardous environments and emergency scenarios, allowing workers to practice safety procedures and emergency protocols without being exposed. And then last but not least, remote learning and collaboration. VR enables remote learners to practice and train sessions from anywhere in the world. Virtual collaboration tools allow learners to interact with instructors and peers in real time. Engage in group activities, collaborate in projects, fostering a sense of community and connection in a remote learning environment. So some of the industries that are currently using VR, it's the health industry. One of the uses is for medical training for surgical simulations, patient care scenarios, and anatomy education. Healthcare professionals have the opportunity to practice procedures, even diagnose conditions to improve their communication skills. One case study is also VR. It's a virtual reality surgical training platform used by medical professionals to practice surgical procedures in realistic virtual environment. So surgeons basically train in the VR environment, demonstrated to improve performance and efficiency. And one of these surgeries that has been practiced is a total knee arthroplasty, a TKA. In basically, it shows that the medical professionals were better who practice on this particular VR simulation were better performance compared to those who did not. The aviation industry. So aviation industry, VR simulators are used for pilot training, aircraft maintenance, and air traffic control simulations, and flight training with CAE VR. It's a global leader in flight simulation and training solutions, including VR-based flight training programs. And this particular case study involves a commercial airline pilot training to familiarize himself with emergency and procedures. So the pilots are in general are trained in VR environments to show increased confidence and proficiency in handling these emergencies. And then also they are trained on engine failures and difficult weather conditions. VR simulations allowed the pilots to experience and respond to realistic scenarios, leading them to improve safety outcome and operational procedures, and obviously their readiness. When it comes to soft skills, which obviously it's really hard to learn soft skills because sometimes people say either you got it or you don't. But thanks to soft skills development with Street VR, which is a training platform to use used by organizations for soft skills, including communication, leadership, and customer service. This particular case study for Street VR, the employees trained in the VR environment to improve their skills, their confidence, and their sales performance. And it shows that compared to those who did not do the traditional, or those who did the traditional training method, they perform much better. It allowed employees to practice engaging with virtual customers, handling objection, closing sales, leading to increase customer satisfaction and obviously revenue. In the manufacturing industry, one case study that stands out, it's SimSpray. It's a training simulator used for in manufacturing of industrial spray paint. In coding applications, technicians trained in the VR environment demonstrated faster learning curves and higher proficiency level in the spray painting compared to those who did the traditional training. VR simulations allow technicians to practice paintings on virtual surfaces and adjust settings and receive immediate feedback on performance. In the educational field, we have Google Expeditions, and I believe one of my colleagues actually tested this particular platform. And students engage in VR field trip that showed increased interest, curiosity, and retention in scientific concepts. And basically, what happened is the kids experiences allowed the students to virtually dive into the ocean and then observe the marine life, interact with virtual tour guides, enhancing their understanding and appreciation of the environment. The military has been using VR for quite a while. They use it for military training, the battlefield, tactical decision-making exercise, and virtual combat. Construction, uh, VR is used for safety training, equipment operating training, construction site simulations, and architectural visualization. In retail, VR is used for customer service training, sales training, product demonstration, and store layout planning. In hospitality, VR is being used for hospitality training, hotel management, simulations, destination marketing, and virtual tours. So hotel staff can basically practice guest services, room setup, and event coordination within a virtual hotel room. The automotive industry, VR is being used for by technicians to train them, vehicle maintenance, driving simulations, and showroom experiences. And then energy and utilities, VR is used for safety training, equipment maintenance, emergency response training in the energy and utility sector. So these are just a few examples of the industries that leverage VR technology for learning and development purposes. VR has a great potential for transforming across a wide range of sectors by providing immersive, interactive, and effective learning experiences for employees and learners. Of course, nothing is perfect, and there are challenges and considerations to take into account. So the benefits are tremendous, but the challenges, as you can see, can also overwhelm anybody who is looking to bring VR as part of their learning and development. One of the considerations is cost. So implementing VR as part of learning and development, the hardware and software can be very costly. High quality VR headsets, controllers, and equipment can cost the organization quite a lot as the initial cost, even though we can see the benefits on reducing traveling, on reducing space for training. Accessibility, so technology may not be accessible to all learners, particularly those with disabilities and limitations that prevent them from using VR headsets or interacting with a virtual environment effectively. Organizations basically need to ensure that VR training programs are inclusive and accessible to all learners, regardless of their possible disabilities or technological proficiencies. Technical requirements. So VR programs require powerful hardware and computing resources to run smoothly, including high performance computers, graphic cards, and VR compatible software, ensuring that learners have access to the necessary technical infrastructure and support can be a challenge, especially in remote or resources constrained environments. Content quality. So developing high quality VR content that it's engaging, interactive, and educational can be a time-consuming and resource-intense process. Organizations need to invest in skilled content creators, instructional designers, and subject matter experts to ensure that VR training experiences are effective and aligned with the learning objectives. Motion sickness, these are some of the reports that people experience motion sickness, dizziness, and discomfort when using VR headsets. So designing VR environments that and experiences that minimize motion sicknesses and discomfort while maximizing engagement and immerse can be quite challenging for some developers. Ethical, privacy, and concerns. VR training programs may raise ethical and privacy concerns related to the data collection and user privacy and consent. Training and support. Effective training and support are essential for ensuring that learners are comfortable in using VR and navigating VR environments. Providing comprehensive training, user guides, technical support, and troubleshooting resources can help learners overcome those challenges and make the most of VR. And then the integration with existing systems. So that can be quite a challenge for some. Probably there's compatibility issues. So organizations need to ensure seamless integration to make sure that the effectiveness and efficiency of VR initiatives are worthwhile. And obviously, I mean, addressing these concerns and considerations requires careful planning, investment, and investment of not just a financial part, but also investing, time and the collaboration between stakeholders, including learning and development professionals within the company, or if you're hiring a third party, IT departments, content creators, and the end users. A lot of the data found on why VR learning and development initiatives fail is because the end users are not involved from the beginning. So that is a very good recommendation to basically include the end users, make sure that they feel comfortable, make sure that you have their input. And last but not least, the future of VR. So the future of VR in learning and development holds exciting possibilities with emerging trends and opportunities shaping the landscape of immersive training and education. So advancements in VR, such as hardware and software, continue to evolve. We can expect to see advances in areas such as display and resolution, field of view, tracking accuracy, and haptic feedback. Accessibility and inclusivity, the future of developments in VR technology will focus on improving those accessibility and inclusivity issues for all learners, including those with disabilities and special needs. Personalized learning experiences. VR has the potential to offer personalized learning experiences tailored to individuals' needs, preferences, and learning styles of each learner. And social and collaboration learning. This one, it's a big one. The future of VR platforms will enable social and collaborative learning experiences, allowing learners to interact with instructors and peers in virtual classrooms, workshops, and training simulations. Virtual training, virtual collaborations, in this case, tools, multiplayer environments, and synchronous learning experiences that will foster teamwork, communication, and knowledge sharing among learners, regardless of their geographical location. Remote and distributed learning, VR technology will facilitate remote and distributed learning opportunities, enabling learners to access immersive training experiences from wherever they are in the world. Integration with emerging technologies. So VR holds great strength, and it can be integrated with emerging technologies such as AI, augmented reality, and for example, AI powered virtual tutors can provide personalized guidance and feedback to learners, while AR overlays can enhance the real world training scenarios with digital information and guidance. Industry specific applications, VR will continue to be adopted across various industries for industry specific training and education. Healthcare is obviously one of those industries, and with medical simulations, with telemedicine training, patient education, In the manufacturing industry, VR can support with equipment operation training. Um, and then in education, retail, hospitality, and automotive and other sectors, it also, you know, it will also support those industries. Last but not least, innovative content and experiences. So future VR content creators will push the boundaries of creating innovation, producing immersive experiences that can engage learners, in new exciting experiences, interactive storytelling, gamification, virtual tours, and experimental learning simulations that will captivate the learner's attention and drive deeper engagement, motivation, and retention of learning objectives. So I know that I'm probably running out of time at this point, but I do want to leave at least a couple of minutes for questions. Virtual reality honestly represents a transformative tool in the realm of learning and development, offering countless benefits that traditional learning methods simply cannot match. With that, I'll give it back to Doug. I will put that QR code again. Here is my contact information in case you want to reach out and continue the conversation.
Well, thank you so much. Are there any questions from anybody in the audience?
Love, do you need the spectrum folder out? Oh, that's okay. I will put it away.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand. Oh, anybody else have a question?
Then I did a good job.
No. Okay, so
Oh, we have one in the chat now.
oh, we do. Okay. So we have one from Fatima Lawrence. Oops, it just went away. Let me pop this open. What support or resources are available for educators or professionals who want to start using VR? That's a great question.
Mm.
What was the question? Oh, I probably could see it on
So
the
what
chat.
resources are available for educators or professionals who want to start using VR?
So we have a lot of different resources available. Personally, I can share some with you. If you drop your email on the chat. I particularly rely on the learning and development sites. They're not necessarily for educators, but they are in the focus on the corporate world, which is what I focus. There is a vast amount of resources that focus on, the use of technology, not necessarily just VR. So I would be more than happy to share some of those resources offline. I don't have them on hand right now. There's a multitude of websites that I use to get data.
Michael says he can't see the QR code.
Michael, I know you're here. You're good.
Okay.
Okay, oh, thank you. Is the L&D organization, is that ATD? Is that one of them, or is there another one?
That is one of them. I don't use them as often.
Okay.
So I wish I had them off the top of my head, but I use multiple ones. I also rely a lot lately on LinkedIn Learning, simply because it provides a lot of the latest and greatest that I can say that I use a lot. I also provide training and development. It's another one. It focuses more on the corporate world, not necessarily on the just educational setting. And then the other one is I can't think of the top of my head. But I can definitely share some of that stuff with you tomorrow, Fatima, with you.
Okay.
If that's who asked the question.
there's another organization. Let me just look it up, make sure. T. It's Philly T&D. And I'm not sure the exact website, but it's Philly Training and Development. They're kind of a sister organization of ours where we do learning and development, NEDLA. They do training and development. And it's Philly T&D with the ampersand. It's not TN or N, it's T ampersand T. So they're another organization that you might want to look at as well.
Okay, I can pull probably 10 right here on my phone. So I have SDs. They are an organization for learning and development. TLDC, they're for learning and development as well. Then you have Global Learning and Development Community. Then you have CLD, the Community Learning and Development. I can share actually this entire article that I wrote on summarizing these, and a lot of them are online communities as well. So, and then we have edweb.net. That's a P1. One of the latest one that I've been checking on, it's PBS Learning Media. That one I really like. Not only does it remind me of my childhood and learning process, but now they're focusing on adult learning, so that's pretty good. As well as pre-K. And then it focuses a lot on pre-K to 12 educators, learning and development. Simple K-12, that is for learning and development for educators. And then Teach Thought, that's another one. And then TES, Connect, which stands for Extensive Network comprising of 13 million educated professionals. So this one, it's pretty big, but and then they release a lot of data.
Thank you, Anne. That was great.
Yep. Any other questions from the room?
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. And a great thank you to Vanessa for your presentation today. And thank you, everybody, for attending. And before we end this event, I would like to again thank our bronze sponsors, their Learnix and Advative Learning, and also our friend of NEDLA, Rod's Pulse Podcast. And finally, I would like to direct everybody to our website. That's www.nedla.org, so they can sign up for our next sessions. Our next session is going to be on May 1st at 6 p.m. And it's ELL, the story behind the letters. And then we're going to have a series of events taking place starting on May 7th and going for 6 sessions. It's going to be a series on effectively designed instruction workshop series and a book study with advative learning. Again, it's going to start on May 7th and go for 6 sessions. So I want to again thank everybody for being here today. So thank you so much. And
thank you, everybody.
Yep. And thank you. And Vanessa, if you want to stop the recording, that'd be wonderful.